Yeah.
Namaste. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vishnu Latish. I'm the regional manager of IACC West India Council. On behalf of IACC, it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you all for the inaugural session of IACC's Thursday Insights. Today's session is on US immigration and visa briefing. It's designed to go beyond headlines. It will provide you with clear, actionable insights on visa policies, professional pathways, and investment linked immigration opportunities. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you to the leadership team that is driving this initiative. First, we have our president, Mr. Raghavendra Pungshe, a second generation entrepreneur and a distinguished intellectual property advisor. Mr. Pungshe is the managing partner at Bhatia and Pungshe with a legacy of over 50 years. Beyond IPR, he is a key advisor to family businesses and a mentor within the Startup India ecosystem. Joining him is our Vice President, Mr. Tejinder Oberoi, a renowned IT entrepreneur and a former chairperson of IACC Gujarat branch. Mr. Oberoi brings over 32 years of experience in IT, telecom, and industrial sales. He currently serves as the executive director of Signet Infotech. We also have with us our Vice President, Mr. Manoj Balwani, a certified AI journalist and an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad. Mr. Balwani is a four-time entrepreneur and a professional management consultant. He currently serves as a startup evaluator and a mentor for premium institutes like IIT Bombay and Indian School of Business, IBS, Hyderabad. It is my distinct honor to introduce our keynote speaker for this evening, Ms. Purvi Chautani. Purvi is a founder and the managing partner of LawQuest, a global immigration law firm with offices in Mumbai, Florida, and New York. She's licensed to practice law in India, the UK, and the US, New York. Her practice focuses on US and Indian immigration. A seasoned veteran in the field, Purvi advises companies through major immigration policies and leads the LawQuest US immigration practice. Purvi is considered to be the best of the best immigration practitioner in India. She has been the past president of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, West India Council, and has been listed as one of the top 100 powerful women in law. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite our president, Mr. Raghavendra Pungshe, to deliver the opening remarks. Over to you, Mr. Pungshe.
Thank you, Vishnu. Namaskar. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, West India Council, it is a great pleasure to welcome each one of you to our IACC Thursday Insights series. This initiative is designed to bring together thought leaders, industry experts, and a vibrant business community to exchange insights, ideas, and impact, the three pillars that define this platform. Today's session on US immigration and visa briefing is both timely and highly relevant. As global mobility continues to shape business expansion and talent movement, understanding the evolving US immigration landscape is crucial for companies, entrepreneurs, and professionals alike. We are truly privileged to have with us our distinguished speaker, Ms. Purvi Chautani, founder and managing partner of LawQuest. She brings with her decades of experience in US immigration law. I am confident that her insights will provide immense value and clarity to all participants. Vishnu has already mentioned that Ms. Chautani has served the IACC as the regional president of the Western India Council, and I have had an opportunity to work with her when she was the president of Western India Council as well. At IACC, our constant endeavor is to create meaningful engagement, facilitate knowledge sharing, and strengthen Indo-US business relations. Sessions like these are a step forward in empowering our members and the larger business ecosystem. To take this mission further, IACC has planned a delegation to New York and New Jersey from 10th of May to the 15th of May. I encourage our members and participants to join the delegation and explore the possibilities to engage with the US innovation and business ecosystem. I would like to thank all our participants for joining us today. Your presence makes these discussions more enriching. To lead us through today's conversation, I would now like to hand over the floor to our moderator for the evening, Mr. Manoj Balwani, Vice President of IACC West India Council. Over to you, Manojji. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raghavendra ji. A very good afternoon to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to all our members, our business leaders, and our guests for today's first edition of IACC Thursday Insights. Now, as we navigate the complexities of 2026, global mobility remains a cornerstone, I would say, of the Indo-US commercial relationship. However, as many of you may know, the US immigration landscape has been anything but static lately, right? So between the recent policy shifts and the surprising artificial advancements we may have seen during the course of the past few quarters, maybe, right? There has never been a more critical time for professional guidance. And what better than having Purvi Chotani, a globally recognized US immigration attorney with whom I have also worked for many, many years at my previous company. She's the founder and managing partner at LawQuest. Purvi is licensed to practice not only in India, but in the UK and the US as well. And her expertise in navigating the vagaries of the system is truly unparalleled. Purvi, thank you once again for being with us today. Shall we get started?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be with you all. It's a pleasure to be back on this platform with you, Manoj, and Vishnu and Raghavendra. It's always been a pleasure working with you all. And Tejinder ji, I look forward to working with you on this and other IACC initiatives. So after spending a lot of time in the United States over the past 5 years, I've decided to spend more time in India. And I hope to be admitted back to the IACC Western Region fold and see if I can help the chamber in any way. So I'm happy to be back and thank you for inviting me on this.
Wow, that's great. All right. So in good earnest.
Yes.
I'll ask you, okay, let me put it this way, right? I'll ask you the easy questions first.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll go on to the tougher ones. To begin with, see, it's no secret that we are heading towards a structurally more restrictive US immigration system, right? So what do you think? Is this merely cyclical, or do you think it's a long-term shift that we are seeing?
So I don't think that the country as a whole has decided to change its immigration welcoming environment. But what has happened is that the current administration believes that putting strong restrictions on immigration is going to help the US economy. And there is also a lot of policy changes announced to speak to the vote bank, in my view, in some ways. So yes, there is a policy shift. Now, I don't think it's cyclical, because if it is cyclical, that means it's going to come back again and again with every administration. But what I do think is that this administration has brought in so many policy changes, and they're in the process of bringing in more policy changes, that we are going to have a tough time correcting course. It's like moving a huge ship against a strong storm. So we've already got a lot of policy shifts, and to correct course and come back to the warm, welcoming environment in America is going to take a while, maybe decades.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then what early signals should applicants in the background of these restrictive changes that are coming about, both in terms of policy direction as well as in terms of just the structural trends, right? What early signals should applicants watch to anticipate tightening or liberalization of policies?
So, so when we talk about US immigration, especially in the Indian Chamber of Commerce connection, right? We are a business community and we have members who are individuals. So these are our stakeholders as far as the chamber is concerned. So I'm going to speak about both these demographic groups differently, the companies and the individuals. So all through last year, that's the first year of the current administration, we saw lots and lots of announcements coming one after the other, sometimes many in a day. And people were bracing them for that, thinking it's a passing phase, hoping that the courts would intervene and restrain some of the drastic changes that were announced. And businesses were hoping that their lobbying capacity would help them stem this tremendous change that came about. But that's not happened. Excuse me. So the courts have been slow in granting relief. In some instances, they've refused to grant relief. The lobbying groups don't seem to be making much headway. So in early 2026, I think everybody has realized that this is here to stay, at least for the immediate future. Companies are rethinking how they're doing business with the United States. And unfortunately, a large part of our IT companies have a big base in the United States. Now, according to me, they're dealing with two things. One is the changing immigration policies and the gaining popularity of artificial intelligence. In a way, one is artificial intelligence is going to benefit them in the face of immigration, because hiring lower end employees at an entry level position or at entry level position is much harder now. And I think IT companies will fill those jobs with artificial intelligence. But there's been definitely a change. So we just closed the H-1B registration season last week. And according to newspapers, there's been a 35% drop in registrations. But practically speaking, we've seen a more than 50% drop in registrations. So definitely Indian IT companies are making different choices because they are the largest consumer of H-1B visas. The other large consumers are, of course, companies like Google, Facebook, and those types of companies. But those type of companies employ people at larger salaries, at level 4 salaries, at higher salaries. So they are, I think, going to have large registrations, maybe more this year. And because the drop in registration numbers and the change in the lottery system, I think they will get many, many more registrations than they have seen in the past. So what should companies do? Companies should do what they're doing, rely on technology, employ local staff, and try and leverage technology to still get work done overseas, outside the United States. What should people do? In that also, there are two types of people who go to America. Some are those who go to study and then want a path to stay on in America if possible. And then there are those that are shifted through companies on temporary H-1B or L visas. I think that there's been a shift in that also. There's definitely a drop in Indian students going to America to study. And the drop has not been only in the past year. It has been a steady drop over the past 3 years. So we've definitely seen a drop in that. The second thing we are seeing is more students who went to study abroad to USA are coming back to India. They think there are more opportunities in India. And the third we are seeing is in companies, there are employees who are selected for H-1B who are saying, sir, we don't want to go. So definitely there's a change, and I would warn them that they should think carefully. And some of these people who see the disadvantage of going or do not see a great advantage in going are actually on the right path. But for the students and the individuals who don't have access to economic opportunities in India, America is still a very attractive destination. That was a long answer,
So
Manu. Sorry.
that's fine. That's fine. In fact, it rakes up many more questions. So I'm happy that you did that because now I have so many more questions that I can ask you. Right. So as you speak about the way companies are looking at it, I think what you were kind of hinting at is the ROI, both from an employer's perspective as well as from, let's say, an individual who's a student, his or her perspective, right? So,
Yes.
is it still a rational investment of time and money, you think, in 2026, given the uncertainty and the low selection odds, especially for the folks who are lower paid?
So now we are talking about the return of investment on from companies, right? They are investing in registering or sponsoring these
Yes,
individuals. So when you
right.
talk about them, when you talk about the companies, I definitely think they need to be very careful because the chances of selection at level 1 and level 2 are very low. So just to bring the audience up to speed, all these years, H-1B registrations were taken in one shot for 10 days or 10 working days in the beginning of March. And then a random lottery was conducted and cases were selected. People who had advanced degrees from America, like masters or PhD, got two bites at the apple. So they were put twice in the selection process. But as of this year, that's changed. Now the lottery is there is going to still be a lottery because you're getting more registrations than numbers. There are only 85,000 visas they give every year. And we're definitely expecting double or triple that number even this year. But now they're going to select them based on their level of salary that they draw. So people and the level of salary are four, 1, 2, 3, 4. So those at level 4 will get 4 chances at the lottery. Those at level 3 will get 3 chances and so on. So people who are at entry level jobs get only 1 chance at the lottery. So look at the odds of getting that selected in that lottery, very low. So if you're a student going for an undergrad program to America and you're hoping to get into an entry level position after you graduate with a bachelor's degree, I think that's a very bad investment. Over 4 years, you're going to spend at least 4 crores of rupees unless you have a superb scholarship or you're studying in a university which is not worth going to. Then it's definitely a bad investment. For companies sponsoring people at level 1, it might be worth taking a chance. You're going to really lose $215 per registration. You're not going to lose thousands of dollars. But if those entry level positions, those individuals, those candidates are sitting in India, they are again slammed with another fee, and that is $100,000. That is where companies are not likely to see a return on an investment immediately unless they have long-term projects in which they're going to keep these people and earn more than their regular profit plus $100,000 to make up that $100,000 fee. Only then do I see a return on investment for companies. So not in the short term, maybe in the long term for large projects.
Got that. Got that. So they will have to amortize this additional $100,000 over at least 3 years, I would think, right, for them to be able to even recover that investment.
Correct. So if they have a short-term project that's going to finish in 1 year and they need 40 people for that 1 year, they're going to spend, what is it, $4 million on that fee?
Yeah.
Their project should pay them that much in 1 year. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Correct. Correct. So shifting back to the student's perspective, right? Now, do you think, given this additional barrier, right? For a student, do you think that it still makes sense because he might think of a US degree as something more, which is a pathway to global mobility rather than just to settle down in the US? Do you think students would think in that manner?
So I must say, a US education is a game changer. Their education system is fantastic. The products that they send out of university after their graduate programs or their bachelor's program, very, very well educated for most mid to high level universities. I'm not talking about the lower, lesser known universities. I don't know enough about them, but it's a game
So
changer. So
Okay,
if
so
individuals
net, even
can
though,
see, yeah, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry, you can finish your point.
So even if they have no opportunities that they can see in the United States, graduating with a US degree makes them more employable in the global market for sure. Even in India, they will be appreciated for the extra skills and knowledge they bring. Unfortunately, the pay scale system in India in companies does not allow for variations because they are usually linked to graduate level and numbers of years of experience. So you come back with a 1 crore debt or a 2 crore debt, but you're not going to get a higher salary because you have the better education, because you still come back with either a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, and you'll be pegged at that level in most companies. So if they're coming back to India, the monetary benefit they may not see immediately, but definitely once they're in the system and they're able to progress and promote themselves, they will stand out. So I don't think that the education is fully a waste. But if you're taking a loan or you're selling your family assets to go to study in America, I definitely advise against that. Very hard to do.
Okay, so let's say a student does indeed decide to pursue the US degree, right? Are there any particular fields, for example, STEM degrees or AI for that for lately, and maybe even healthcare, right? Do you think these are better bets than the
Yes.
others?
Definitely. Wherever they can combine artificial intelligence with another area. So I think that more jobs are going to open up in humanities jobs like HR jobs, people jobs, talent jobs, etc.
Hmm.
than ever before. I'm not saying they're going to match with the high volume IT jobs, but you're going to see more opportunities there. Sorry, niche opportunities there. And if you can combine that with knowledge of artificial intelligence, of how to use it, how to optimize certain processes and trainings, etc., with the use of AI, you're definitely going to be more employable. And yes, it's worth doing that. Healthcare, environmental science, still USA does not support climate change initiatives, etc., but the rest of the world does. So lots of opportunities for people coming out with environmental science, health related education, health management education, um, high level of technology like quantum physics, this, that, and the other, not entry level computer coding, definitely not coding. And then what I also see is no point going and getting an MBA unless you're getting it from the top universities in America. And you know why that MBA is valuable? It is valuable for the education you get, but you can get that even online through many platforms where Harvard, etc., offer their courses in bits and pieces. But what you get if you go and do a physical MBA over there is the global connections that you will make. And those global connections will help you in your career and life goals. So that
Yeah.
opportunity of studying on the ground with a group of international people is still very valuable.
Got that. Okay, Purvi, now let's maybe switch gears. We spoke a lot about the H-1B and the student-related visas, right? Let's switch gears now to the reality check on green cards. So, with the EB2 and EB3 backlogs stretching to decades for Indians, right? Is the US still a viable long-term settlement destination?
It's a very attractive destination. It's also stable until you do have a visa and a job, but it is not predictable. You don't know when you're going to get the green card. You don't know if your child who's 5 years old today will be less than 21 when you get the green card. Because if the child is more than 21, you are getting the green card, but the child is not getting the green card. So predictability is not there. And hence, I would think that anybody who's trying to make a life, they're waiting for the EB2, EB3 green card, cannot feel stable because of the uncertainty of when they'll get the green card.
So, are people therefore shifting from an immigration kind of approach or methodology to get into the US, are they shifting from that immigration methodology to the temporary stay methodology? You know what I mean, right?
So, yes, there are many people who say, okay, I'll go there, work for 6 years on the H-1B and come back to India or look for other global opportunities. We are seeing that. But if you are talking about our companies or individuals using more temporary visas like business visas to go and achieve certain projects or deliver certain services, I think many people are trying to cut corners to do that, but in my opinion, that's a very, very bad thing to do because it is like committing corporate suicide. Because if you get caught, you could be slapped with millions of dollars of penalties. And by the time you defend yourself and even prove you're innocent, you would have spent another few $1 million on legal fees. We saw that happen about 15 years ago with Infosys. They were accused of misusing the B visa, the business visa. And they were being sued, but they had an
Yeah,
out of court settlement. And this is my view from outside, is they decided the out of court settlement is worth it because otherwise they were bleeding in legal fees and reputation loss.
right. So that's a path that is best avoided even today, right? Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. So now moving on to alternative. We spoke about H-1Bs, student visas, green cards. What are the other alternatives? For example, is the O1 or EB1 or an EB5 becoming the new default for Indian professionals?
So, unfortunately, what is happening, especially in the Indian market, which is really where I work the most, is I see a lot of consultants. So these are non-lawyers. These are not government officials or anybody. They're either speaking from their personal experience or they're speaking from their friends' experience, are positioning themselves as consultants to help you get an O1 visa or to help you get an EB1A visa. Now, for the sake of the audience, Manoj, I'm going to explain what these two are because you and I use this jargon all the time. We know what it is. But I'm going to share some things with
Sure.
the audience. An O1 visa, it's a temporary visa given to people with outstanding abilities in various fields, including in business or technology. The criteria to get the O1 visa are 8. And generally speaking, you've got to only prove 3 of those criteria to claim eligibility for an O1. You still need an employer to sponsor you. It's not a self-sponsored visa. So you need a job offer and you need to prove that you have outstanding or extraordinary abilities by proving at least 3 of the 8 criteria. That's what the law says. And hundreds of Indians are trying to prove themselves as O1 eligible individuals. I have 2-3 problems with that, and I'll come to that later, but I still want to finish on the criteria first. So the law says 3 out of 8. But in practice, what we are seeing is USCIS saying, yes, you qualify on those 3 prongs, but your overall profile does not make you eligible for an O1 visa. This is utter nonsense. They have to follow the law. So if they say you qualify for 3 points, they've got to give the O1, but they're using their discretionary powers and denying O1s on the test of totality. That totality of your circumstances don't show that you're eligible for O1. This is not correct under the law, but it's happening. My problem here in India is with the consultants. They take candidates who've got good profiles. So they're top of their class, they got A or full A students, gold medalists, whatever. 2-3 things are there to show that this person is outstanding, or let's say in the gold medalist situation. Then they say, okay, now let's engage a PR company and build your profile so that you become more outstanding. So they get them some state awards or they get them some citations in publications, etc. And they position them as O1 visa candidates. And the USCIS has been granting these O1s. This is before they came up with this totality test, which is the recent development. My problem with that is that we are misusing the O1 visa to push candidates who are not really qualified to get them qualified with artificial padding of their profile, with artificial enhancement of their profile. Now, on a one-on-one basis, that's fine. That individual's life is made, he's gone there. But as an industry, as a country, we are going to suffer. This is what happened 30 years ago with the L1, not 30, but 24 years ago, I think, with the L1 program. Indian companies were using L1 visas to transfer employees from India to the US very successfully. And I don't believe they were really breaking the law. They were doing what was permitted under the law, but they were using it a lot. Then a US journalist in Business Week wrote an article about how TCS is misusing L1 visas. And after that, the US has clamped down on Indian companies applying for L1 visas. So we are doing this to ourselves. We misuse or overuse something, then we create a reputation, and then really eligible candidates don't get those benefits. So that's on the O1 criteria. But yes, if you do have a qualified candidate in your company who meets most of those 8 criteria, you should use an O1 visa. It is not subject to a lottery. It is not subject to a quota. It is not subject to any time limit. You can have indefinite renewals, and you only need an employer to sponsor you. So you should use
Is it
O1
subject?
candidates. Yeah.
I'm sorry, is it subject to that additional $100,000?
No, good point. No, even the O1 visas are not subject to the $100,000 fee. So it's more attractive for companies. What they need to do is they need to, find all these jewels in their company and promote them to the
Right.
O1 visa category. And the EB1
Okay.
is a similar problem. The EB1A is the extraordinary ability category. Over there, they have 10 criteria and you've got to meet at least 3. Again, USCIS is implementing the totality test and denying many candidates, but EB1A is also very good. There are quotas in that, but there are finite numbers that can be issued every year. And so that there is a backlog of about I would say 3 to 5 years just now in that category, but it's better than the EB2, EB3 queue.
Okay. So then one could conclude that these are truly accessible for only a very, very narrow segment. And therefore,
Yes.
let's now again broaden our conversation, right? No, but before I do that, there is again another luxury segment that I would like to talk about, right? And which is the EB5. So, do you think that the EB5 is now becoming more of a necessity than a luxury, given that, the application or the investment in an EB5 is now close to $1 million or a little less, maybe?
So I'm just going to spend 2 minutes to talk about the EB5 program. So the EB5
Yeah.
program is broadly of 2 types of investments. It can be either an investment in the urban area or it can be an investment in a rural area. If it is in a rural area, the investment is $800,000. If it's in the urban area, it's $1 million or $1.02 million. And you've got to
Right.
start a business and you've got to run the business and create 10 jobs. That's the broad EB5 framework.
Correct.
Within that framework, in 1991, the US government created the Regional Center Program. The Regional Center Program allows multiple investors to invest in eligible projects and get the benefit of a green card. So this category is still open, but it has always been a pilot program. That means it has got a finite life. Now, the last extension was given in 2022, I believe, or 21, and it has now been extended till September 2027. So the Regional Center Investment Program is going to sunset at the end of September 2027. That means you can continue to invest as an EB5 investor until that date. However, all cases that are filed before September 30th, 2026 are protected. That means they will be processed even if the program closes at the end of September and no visas are available because this is also subject to a quota. So basically, EB5 investors who filed before the end of September this year are safe. Those who file after after October 1st, 26, but before September 30th, 2027, they are in a risky group. They may not get their green card. So that's the broad framework. Now, is it attractive and is that a viable option? Yes, it is. A lot of H-1B workers in America who have savings over the past few years are actually using their savings to invest in EB5 projects, especially if they've got children who are just about to get 21 years old. So the largest demand for EB5 visas in the United States, from the Indian demographics, is within the United States of H-1B workers who are stuck in the EB2, EB3 queue. So it's a viable option. It's an attractive option. And if invested prudently, you'll get your money back. And it's $800,000 to invest in a regional center. It's an attractive and viable option.
Okay, no. So I'll come back to the basic question, right? Is that given that the other visa categories have become so much more complicated or so much more expensive, do you think that now people are looking at the EB5 as more of a necessity? Because earlier, of course, it was only for the elite and for the super rich, so to say, right? But now even middle class people are looking at it because it's become a necessity. Would you agree with that?
Yes, it is a necessity, especially for
Okay.
people who are stuck in the EB2, EB3 queue. It is a necessity.
Got that. Okay, now this gold card thing, right? The Trump gold card.
Yeah.
Is it a real thing? And how many people, according to you, would have already received these so-called gold cards?
Honestly speaking, I don't think anyone has received the gold card as yet. They have publicly announced that they've received, in December, they had received 1.3 billion worth of investment. And now somebody said that they've received 1.7 billion worth of investment for for the Trump gold card. That means 1,700 people have signed up.
Okay.
According to me, they are just putting out these numbers. There may be expressions of interest. The expression of interest from people who want it is something like 70,000 people who've signed up for it. But I've also signed up for it because I want to know what this Trump gold card is about. So I have also expressed my interest, but I have not filed the petition as yet for myself or any client. Most clients, when they come to us and they hear our advice, they're not confident that this is going to be a viable option because the Trump gold card requires $1 million investment per person in your family. It's not, the EB5 is $800,000 and a whole family unit is given the green card. In Trump,
Right.
it is $1 million per person, number one. Second, the government website also says that you will be given the gold card when a visa number is available to you. So if they're still going to be waiting for visa numbers, which visa queue are they going to pull out these numbers from? There's no clarity on that. And third is
I see.
that Congress has not passed this law. And the entire immigration process in America is within the framework of the Immigration and Nationality Act. And to increase visa numbers, they definitely need Congress action. So where are these visas going to come from? There's no clarity on that. So when we speak to clients who are interested in it, they actually say, okay, we'll wait and watch. But there are some who have spare cash. They've spent $15,000 and filed that paperwork that they're supposed to, but they've not been invited to invest the $1 million as yet or to do the source of fund mapping, which is a very big part of any investment benefit. When you do EB5, you've got to show huge amounts of evidence to show where you earn that money from. We expect that same level of scrutiny for the $1 million, but nobody has still received a request to provide that. So it's all in limbo. There's a lot of PR activities around it that we see, but not much substance, in my opinion.
Got that. So, to the best of your knowledge, not a single person has so far actually been issued a gold card, right?
To the best of my knowledge, yes. But if I were to rely on social media, there was one posting on Instagram and other social media where a famous performance artist, I think she was a singer, she has got the gold card, and there's a picture of her with the gold card.
Hmm.
But many immigration lawyers, including me, are of the
Oh,
opinion that if she were to ask for a green card, she would have got it in the EB1A category as an extraordinary ability person, because performance artists can get it, singers can get it, dancers can get it.
okay.
So why would she spend $1 million to get something which you could have just got for a few thousand fees in government and lawyer fees? It doesn't make sense. But that's the only
Hmm.
thing I've seen in media, and social media is not a reliable source of information, so I would not put much emphasis on that.
Understand. Okay. So now let's come back. Let's come back to the local, to the India context, right? And let's deal with some of the on the ground challenges that we are all experiencing, right? Visa stamping delays. So, how significant do you think these delays are in India today? And are they indeed becoming a structural barrier to getting entry into the US?
Yes, we saw a terrible mess in December when they suddenly canceled thousands of appointments and shifted them out 6 to 12 months into 2026. Okay? So what happened was US immigration since last year is examining the social media postings of all visa applicants in the student category, and they extended
Yes.
that vetting to H-1B workers. Now, to do that social media vetting, they need a human being to vet it, and officers need time to do it. So they
Right.
pushed out all these appointments to give officers more time to do this social media vetting. And so the entire visa booking system, the appointment booking system, was in complete chaos. Things have stabilized since then. We anecdotally hear that people are getting appointments. We don't book appointments for most of our clients. It's too time consuming. But we've anecdotally learned that they're getting these appointments within 3 to 6 months now. And only the ones that were rescheduled last year from December, those are the ones that are still struggling to get earlier dates. But people who are booking fresh appointments are getting them within about 3 to 6 months. Now, is this a structural solution or is this good? No, it's not. Let's say you've got, first of all, last year's H-1B cap cases have been delayed tremendously. We are just seeing the last of our cases getting approval now. Sorry. That means the person who's gotten approved could have started working in America on October 1st, 2025. But because his petition was only just approved, he now has to apply for a visa and go to America to work. The good news is that he is not subject to the $100,000 fee, because this petition was filed last year before this fee became applicable. That's the good news. But without
Correct.
a visa appointment, he cannot go to start there, though he's eligible to start immediately. So structurally
Hmm.
and practically speaking, it's still a mess. Relatively speaking, from last December, it's improved.
Fine. So I think one can conclude from that that at least the delays are improving, and visa appointments are becoming a little more predictable
Yes.
than they were before. But at the
Yes.
same time, I think you would agree that they are still impacting job mobility as well as travel decisions.
Absolutely. And project management. How do you know when your worker is going to get to the United States to start working? How do you make client commitments, end client commitments? So it's creating a lot of problem in contract
Right.
retention, because you've got to hold on to your contracts. It's creating a lot of problem in project management. It's creating a lot of familial problems, because we have random cases where the father traveled to India with the child, saying, I'll get a visa stamp and come back. Now, the father and child are stuck in India. The girl is missing school. So there are many families who are dealing with these type of practical challenges, which is impacting children's and spouses' lives.
Yes, yes. So coming to these types of problems, right? There are a couple of other scenarios that I wanted to kind of check with you. For example, if there is an applicant with a minor criminal or let's say just a drunk driving history, right? What practical strategies can such an applicant use to navigate these consular delays and the uncertainties surrounding it?
Let's talk about two communities here, the student community and the H-1B community.
Yeah,
If you're a student in the United States and you have a minor criminal infraction, or you have a driving under the influence charge or conviction or penalty, depending on the state you are in, do
yeah,
not leave the United States till you finish your degree. Do not leave the United States, because once you leave the United States, you'll need, by now, if you have this criminal record or the drunking under the influence charge, DUI charge,
yeah,
you probably have received an email from the consulate saying your visa has been revoked. That means if you leave the country, you don't have a visa to come back to the United States. How can you then remain in the United States legally? Now, that is something that our audience needs to understand. A visa does not determine your stay in the United States. Your legal status in the United States determines how long you can stay. And the legal status is noted on your I-94 record, which is available on cbp.gov/I-94. You should always print out a copy of your I-94 when you land in America. So as long as your I-94 is valid, and if you're a student, your I-94 will not have a date. It will in fact say D/S, indicating duration of status. That means as long as you continue to remain a full-time student, you can remain in the United States indefinitely in student mode. But if you leave the country, you need a visa to come back. And hence, do not leave the country is my blanket advice to all students who have these minor problems. Coming to the H-1B workers, the same thing applies. Because the moment you leave the United States, you've got to get a new visa. Well, even if you change jobs within the United States, you're going to get a new I-94 record with the approval notice, which allows you to stay and continue to work. Now, this is not sustainable forever. So when you come to India, you will have to apply for a visa. And the other problem is now you can't apply in any other country. You can only apply in the country of your nationality. So you've got to come back to India and apply for your visa. At that time, you've got to be prepared. You might get a visa denied. Or if your paperwork is strong, you may be asked to go, or you will be asked to go to a panel physician and get certified that you're not a person who's dependent on drugs or alcohol, and that you are rehabilitated, whatever it takes. The doctor determines that, and they file a report with the consulate. And if everything is fine and you otherwise meet the criteria, you will get your visa to go back. So if you think you're coming to get your visa in a week and going back, with such a history, you're not likely to go back so easily.
fine. So I think in that case, I think applicants should not plan travel, as you said, unless it's really some life-saving kind of situation. Because if they do, then they are actually risking their status.
Right. And otherwise, before they travel, they should speak to their criminal lawyer. They should speak to their immigration lawyer. They should speak to their company and HR.
Okay.
Develop a strategy before they leave the country so that that strategy kicks in and they can take all the steps and get back as soon as possible.
Okay. Okay. I do have a couple of more questions, but before I move ahead with that, I just wanted to check with my colleague Vishnu here. Vishnu, just a quick time check. How much time do we have? Because I know I wanted to kind of just leave some time for the closing remarks, etc., and maybe a few questions and answers from the audience.
So we can take the question answers. You have like we can have 5 more questions if you're okay. And then we go to the vote of thanks.
Also, we want to take 5 questions because we already have 4 questions in the audience, Manoj.
Okay, so in
They are
that
in the
case,
Q&A box.
Correct. They're in the Q&A box.
yes, yes. So should I then straight away jump into that? Okay, just give me a moment.
Yeah.
Just give me a moment.
So you want me to just say one?
I read one of them. Shall I talk about that, Manoj?
Please,
Oh,
please.
yes, yes, please,
Okay, so
Purvi,
there's a
yes.
question from the audience which says, is the Trump card parallel to the EB5 or complementary to the EB5? The Trump gold card and the EB5 are two separate categories. They do not impact the other category. The EB5 regional program is set to sunset in 2027, but the EB5 direct investment program continues indefinitely until Congress changes the law. The Trump card is an announcement made by this administration. It is different, it is subject to a different visa quota, and we have no certainty that for the future administrations will support or implement this program going forward. So they're two different ones.
Okay. Thank you, Purvi. Okay, so there's a question. I think we've already covered this, but I'll nevertheless just read it. So there is this person whose son is graduating in December 26, and after which he may get his OPT, right, as he's there under the STEM program. So the question is, what's his future? I think we've discussed a lot about that already. But Purvi, if you might want to just add a few 30-second remark around that.
Right. So OPT is, when we talk about OPT, we are saying that graduate has received his work authorization, which is just a work authorization card. After getting that OPT EAD, that's the employment authorization document, or OPT EAD, he also needs a job. If he has a job, he should continue to work over there, maintain his status as a student. That means do everything required for OPT compliance. And before the end of 1 year, he should apply for a STEM extension and continue to work there, because who knows what's going to happen after 3 years. This STEM OPT will take him to the end of 3 years. It will take him to the new administration, and things may be different then. But don't leave the country as far as possible. You go visit him in America. Don't call him to India for now.
Okay. There are 2 more questions. People want you to maybe spend a minute or two on each of these, right? One is the L1A visas and the other is the business visas. So yeah, over to you, Purvi.
So whenever I talk about the L1A visa, I ask people to imagine a pyramid. Okay. Now, people at the top of the pyramid, okay, can you all see my pyramid?
Yes.
People at the top of the pyramid can be considered for L1A jobs. People at the bottom of the pyramid definitely cannot. And maybe one or two in the middle of the pyramid can be considered, because L1A is of two types. One is an L1A managerial or executive category, and one is an L1B specialized knowledge category. Now, when you're talking about specialized knowledge, very few people in the company can really have specialized knowledge of the company's products in a significant way. Your low level engineers may have knowledge of that specialized knowledge, but not enough to be the person with the specialized knowledge. So it gets a little technical. So you have to choose them very carefully. L1A managers, you have to understand, or executives, are people who are managing at a very high level. We're not talking about line managers, or we're not talking about team managers. We are talking about functional managers, HR managers, finance managers, CFO, a high level manager category, who has a team of people reporting into them, and the team is comprised of not the first level supervisory candidates, supervision candidates, but of with people with bachelor's degrees or master's degrees. So again, you've got to choose your candidates who fit the bill. When they fit the bill, the L1A is a very viable program. There is a challenge to get L1A approvals at Chennai, which is the only consulate that processes L1 under the blanket application. Those are very difficult to do. But yes, if your candidates are clearly qualified, you should go to Chennai and get it. Otherwise, file individual petitions. It is still a viable option, but you must use it as a brahmastra in your company. Do not use the L1A so much that you then become a suspect company and your cases get scrutinized more. So careful use is recommended. Coming to the business travelers. So business traveling is still welcome. They want business people to travel. Sorry. What they don't want is business people traveling on that visa and then doing work over there. If you're going to be productively engaged in the United States working, they don't want you to do that, because for that you need a work visa. More than that, you must understand, from if you are representing a company, that when you send an employee to the United States on a business visa and ask him to do something that is not allowed under the visa, it is going to impact the individual more than the company. And let's say you send 10 people like that and all 10 of them have a bad experience, you're going to impact the morale of your company. And these are practical things we see. The misuse of the B visa actually creates such a lot of morale damage in a company that you also see a mass attrition in the company because of these type of immigration violations. I really don't know what else he wants me to talk about the business visa, but if he can pinpoint a question, I'm happy to address it.
Yes. Yes, we'll certainly do that. So I think now we should probably move towards the close of our session. And before I hand it over back to Vishnu, I wanted to just really sincerely thank you, Purvi. As always, you've always, your ability to distill complex policy shifts into actionable strategy for for all our members, as well as for me in my earlier professional avatar, has always been exemplary and superlative, I would
Thank
say. And I think that this is a wonderful start to our Thursday Insights. I'm sure we'll have many more successful Thursday Insights sessions. Thank you once again for helping us to make sense of the US immigration policies. And to our members, thank you very much for your insightful questions. As Purvi said, if we didn't get to your question today, please do reach out to the IACC Secretariat, and we'll do our best to facilitate an answer from Purvi. Wishing you all a very productive evening ahead. Back to you, Vishnu.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to say
Yes.
thank you so much, Manoj. You moderated it so well. And it's been a pleasure working with you while you're with the company, but I love the way you moderate these sessions also. And I'm really proud to be your debut speaker for the Thursday Insights. Thank you for inviting me for that.
Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
Rightly said, Purvab. We are absolutely, thrilled to have you on board as a, pilot speaker here. Without, me talking, I would want Mr. Oberoi, our Vice President, to give the official vote of thanks, and then we conclude the session, sir.
Thank you, everyone. As we come to the close of today's insightful session, it's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, West India Council, I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Purvi Chotani, founder and managing partner of LawQuest. Thank you, Purvi, for sharing your invaluable expertise with us today. You deep dive into US immigration and visa framework, covering everything: B1, B2, pathways, EB5, gold card. I think that brings a lot of clarity and actionable strategies for everybody. A special thank you, Manoj, for steering today's discussion so skillfully and ensuring that most pressing questions from the audience were addressed with precision. The session marks a significant milestone as the inaugural event of the IACC Thursday Insight series. The initiative was born out of the desire to foster meaningful dialogues and provide our members with expert knowledge that creates real business impact. We are committed to bringing you more such engaging sessions in the weeks to come. I'd also like to express our sincere thanks to our president, Mr. Raghavendra Ponchke, for his visionary leadership and constant encouragement in launching the new series. My appreciation goes to the IACC Secretariat, Vishnu and Parva, without whose efforts this program would not be possible. Finally, to our participants, thank you for your enthusiastic presence and engagement. Your support is what makes IACC platform truly impactful. We look forward to seeing you in our next session. Thank you once again and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we have a group photo if everyone is fine? We'll just,
Yes.
Sure.
just take it.
So you'll have to include all the participants, most of the participants.
No, sir, no, sir. Just a moment. One more. I'm taking a print screen here. This is good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.